thank us for meeting with us here today. Now, you have been the director of ApexBrasil since 2021. Would you please explain to us what benefits have you gained from attending the Expo 2020 in Dubai, with Brazil being present at the Expo?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. And yes, the Expo has been a great experience and very important results for us in terms of exposing what Brazil has and getting not only to get to know more our culture and everything, but in regard to trade and investment attraction. It's been a very, very interesting result. We had participated over about 97 events in our pavilion. It involved about 45 countries, and the indirect media generated in regard to this, it's now is estimated at least double what we invested to be here in terms of value analysis. And we expect to generate in the long term about $10 billion in investments and increase our exports to the region in about $500 million. This is our expectancy about after what we have been experiencing during the event.
That's amazing. And how do you then plan to increase foreign trade, and what are some of the key focus?
ApexBrasil is doing this role of trade promotion and investment attraction and internationalization of Brazilian companies for 25 years this year. So this kind of presence is exactly what we do. And now we have a more interesting challenge, which is to not only promote the goods and some specific projects in Brazil, but also to disclose the new business environment we have in Brazil today. Since we have been gone, we did several structural reforms with a long-term impact. And these reforms are shifting our economy from a state-driven economy to a market-driven economy.
Yeah.
And this has been very, very positive for us. It's been increasing the attraction of investment incredibly, and our exports are also getting more traction, because this market opening is stimulating the increase of infrastructure assets in Brazil, which are going to enhance the level of our production, and consequently we'll be able to export more.
Yeah.
So this is what we do. We have support about almost 15,000 companies in Brazil, and we want to increase that. The companies we support, they are responsible for over $100 billion in exports, almost 40%, 37% about Brazilian exports. So the agency has a lot to do. We want to increase our presence, attend to more companies in Brazil, give support to more of them, digitalizing our services, increasing scale of capacity to support them.
Yeah.
And this is basically the plan to enhance our trade.
Thank you. And what sort of an impact has COVID had in Brazil and on Brazilian businesses over the last 2 years?
COVID had a major impact worldwide, but we managed to do very interesting and with good results mitigation plans of the crisis impact. We did a huge social assistance program during 2020. Over 50 million people were supported by that, and this held up our economy pretty much. Our agriculture exports kept on going. We still had to help food security in the world, which is what we've been doing for a while, and we're going to increase the position in that. So, and we managed to contain the fiscal policy after the peak of the pandemic. Okay. So I think we're the only continental country in the world, and maybe the only one, that already came back to government expenses to the same level of pre-pandemic times. And in 2022, we're expecting to go even less government expenditure, while at the other hand, private investments are skyrocketing.
And why is that?
Because we opened the market finally for the private investments. So It's the largest concessions and authorizations program in the world ongoing right now with roads, infrastructure, airports, railroads,
Yeah.
Electricity sector. So this market opening is unprecedented. So we are expected to have it's already contracted, committed for the next 10 years, the equivalent of 2 Marshall Plans.
Oh, wow.
A little bit more, over 200 billion US dollar in private investment,
Yeah.
already committed to rebuild our economy.
Okay. And in terms of trade opportunities for LATAM, how are you driving sustainable growth post-COVID?
The sustainable growth, I think one of the main pillars for sustainable growth is growth based in long-term private investments.
Yeah.
So as we just mentioned, this is what we're doing. And the sustainability issue in regard to the environment and all the best practices, this is something that has been already absorbed by our culture. Almost all the Brazilian entrepreneurs already see this as value added to their operations.
Yeah.
So everybody already it's going down this road of sustainability and best practices. We all know that this is very important to have not only acceptance in the market, but it's literally a decision that people are convinced by themselves, which is good, the entrepreneurs themselves.
So yeah, you just explained that Brazil has gained strongest trade surplus in February since 2017, with the figures expected to grow due to a decline in imports.
Yes, the imports had a little bit decline in volume, but the value, the nominal value, it increased because the prices also increased, and we had the currency exchange element, which is now the real is getting stronger again. We're seeing the results of these measures. But yeah, it's an effect also of the chain supply in the world. We expect to have a very interesting trade balance surplus this year again, and it's going very well. I mean, the exports are going strong. We realize we have this currency exchange element that sometimes you see the numbers in comparison to the volume. It's interesting to see this relation, but almost in all scenarios we're supposed to have a very positive year in regard to a positive trade balance.
So overall, the Expo 2020 Dubai has given confidence to businesses.
Yes, because we were able to connect, to talk and have a direct dialogue to many markets, many countries. And here in Dubai, it's a very important trade hub and an investment center in the world. So we are able to talk to investors worldwide. And when we disclose this new reality about what is going on in Brazil, in these long-term measures that we did, strategical ones like autonomy of the central bank, business environment law, economic freedom law, this market opening with concrete legal framework, startups framework, and the concessions program, we saw a very positive and optimism in the entire market, because they see this is a market that they cannot be out of it. It's the blue chip of the moment. It's a continental market with an unprecedented opening process. So it's time to take a careful look about what's going on in Brazil.
Definitely. And just lastly, Lucas, how would you describe the pavilion itself, the Brazilian pavilion? What are some of the key messages of the pavilion and overall?
Well, the pavilion, we made several partnerships with many Brazilian states and companies in order to do their activations. So we had several different activations along the year. So the pavilion transformed itself with each theme that we had a partner doing its activation. And it's interesting because it's a big screen, so we have all these projections with the water mirror. We had a good microclimate, especially when the climate has a little bit of heat here in UAE. So it was a very popular pavilion. We're expecting to close the expo with 2 million visitors in our pavilion. It's a good result, especially taking in consideration the pandemic along the 6 months of expo.
Yep.
So it was very positive. We learned a lot of lessons. We always have to improve, and we're really looking forward for Osaka with an even better pavilion.
Well, thank you so much for explaining all of that to us and for meeting us here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.